Hello, my name is Sedona DeBrule, and I'm here to tell you about how the current wind turbine design we're using is not the most effective way we could be going about generating wind energy. What I'm counting as a standard wind turbine is a 3-bladed tower with generally about 100 meters tall, and they generate 6 million kilowatts of power per year. They also create about 100 decibels of noise, and they cost between $3 and $4 million to construct, and about 30% of that construction cost in maintenance every year. Now, as I said, these turbines generate about 100 decibels of noise at the base of the turbine. That is loud enough that over time, exposure to it can cause permanent hearing damage, if not loss. And even as far as 500 meters away, that's creating 40 decibels of noise. That's like a calm conversation droning on in the background as you try and have conversations, or try and hear what the TV is saying. Another common complaint is that wind turbines kill 1 million birds and bats every year. About 230,000 birds and 600,000 bats. Now, the way it does this is sometimes a spinning blade will just hit a flying animal trying to pass through, and it dies from blunt trauma. Another way, this one especially happens to smaller animals like bats, is as the wind turbine spins, it creates pressure waves. And when these come into contact with, say, a bat, it causes their organs to rupture, and they die. Now, all those bat deaths, 600,000, that's on top of the 5.7 million bats that have been killed so far by white nose syndrome. We don't have a lot of bats to lose. And even in the case of birds, wildcats are, to be fair, killing 4 billion birds every year. They're smaller birds, they're the more common type. Wind turbines will kill, they are capable of killing larger birds and rarer species. They can kill hawks, they can kill vultures and owls and cranes. There's one wind turbine farm in California that kills about 120 golden eagles every year. So with the noise they create and the animals they kill, and the fact some people just find wind turbines to be eyesores, there's been a lot of protest on construction of new wind turbines near communities. And we need a lot more wind energy. We need to become less dependent on fossil fuel. We need to be sending less pollution into the air. And a very good way to do that would be to use some alternate designs that are quieter, more efficient. They kill less birds. People will be more accepting of them. We can build more of them. And so now, I'm going to show you one of these alternate designs. This is the Liam 12. If you can see the shape from the picture, it's a lot like a Nautilus shell, or Archimedes water pump, specifically is what it's modeled after. Now this is a smaller urban design meant to be mounted on houses, offices, businesses, most buildings, really. And unlike your larger wind turbines, which are large enough that if they rotated, they would crash into each other, these ones, like weather vanes, are able to rotate on a 60-degree angle to catch wherever the strongest wind is coming from. They only generate 1,500 kilowatts per year each, but they're a lot quieter. They only generate about 42 decibels at the base, and each one costs $5,450. That means for the cost of one 3 million wind turbine, we can build about 550 of these. And as they're quieter, and the closed design means less birds and bats will be flying into them, we can build a lot more of these. We can make up for that power gap. Another very cool design is the BAT, the Buoyant Airborne Turbine. Now this is a highly versatile wind turbine. It is a helium balloon with a turbine mounted into it, and attached is a 1,000-foot line which works as both a power cord and tether. And this allows the BAT to go 1,000 feet up in the air, where the wind currents are stronger and more constant, and birds and bats do not fly that high, and airplanes do not fly that low. It's a very good height to be at. And these are very useful, not just in general, but in humanitarian efforts. There are areas that are very remote. There either isn't the infrastructure or the demand to build your normal power plant, you can take one or two of these there, you can set them up with a very small station, and they'll generate energy for places off the grid, so they can afford to refrigerate food, or medicine, or generate lights with electricity. They're also very good in humanitarian efforts for after natural disasters, when all the infrastructure and the power lines and everything have been destroyed by, say, a hurricane or a tsunami or an earthquake. You can ship one of these ships in 2 shipping containers, and you can send a couple over and use them to generate electricity to help with the aid efforts happening. Another very useful thing about the BAT is you can mount things on them, such as cell phone towers. Instead of spending the money to construct an expensive tower to get them up high enough, you can mount a cell phone tower on top of a BAT to, work as a cell phone tower, boost reception. I have one third design I'm going to show you here. This is the Vortex. It's a very simple, very cheap design with very few moving parts. The idea is that stick coming out of the ground, the wind buffers that, it kind of rotates a little bit, and that generates energy. It's not quite as efficient as most of the other types of wind turbines we've seen here, but it is a lot cheaper, and each one requires a lot less space, which means you can build a lot of them in a small area. Possibly, if the field underneath wind turbines is going unused, you could fill it with these vortexes, generate a lot more energy in that area. And like the past 2 designs, these ones are a lot quieter. They are a lot less likely to harm wildlife. And so in conclusion here, in general, using one design of wind turbines would be inefficient. There are multiple scenarios of places we could build wind turbines. We could build them on top of buildings. We can build them hundreds of feet up in the air. We can just put them on the ground. And using any one of these designs would be missing out on all of the opportunities the other ones are able to do. In using all these wind turbines, they're quieter, they're safer to animals. That would lead to less people protesting these. We could just get more of these built in general. We could get more funding for wind turbines in general, and that would help to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and would help the environment reduce pollution. And so finally, here are my references if you need any more further reading about any of this. And that's the presentation. Thank you.